the money that I collected. It's honorable that brought
Destiny
money.
of
Can you
Nigeria.
make a contribution to Nigerian peace?
Me, the
Why you
thing
not
is
doing this thing?
I want all of now.
Look at it.
We want to
Becomes
live
a
in
time
Nigeria.
when
We
you're
want to
pushed to
take
the
steps
wall,
every day
there's
to make this
nowhere
country
to go.
a better
And
place.
the new Nigeria is
Higher
that
education is
dream that we
telling
so
them
much see.
it's time to change.
All colors, shades, angles, and perspectives can be overwhelming in our present world of information overload. This is introducing Ground Zero. Ground Zero is a current affairs discussion phone-in program covering topical issues in the polity. The program is a platform for an in-depth analysis of trending issues by professionals, authorities in various fields, analysts, and key actors in the polity. Ground Zero gives the listener an opportunity to contribute to the discussion via phone call, SMS, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. From the conservatively serious to the ridiculously funny, Ground Zero accommodates them all. Professionals, urban contemporary businessmen and women, policymakers, public service workers, students, artisans, traders, and the in-between. Ground Zero comes up on Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays 4 to 5 p.m. Ground Zero. This program is exclusive to Invicta 98.9 FM. Tune in.
It's a bright and sunny Saturday evening. You're tuned to Invicta 98.9 FM. It's time for Ground Zero, the Never Dull Moment program on radio. The program where we pick up topical issues in the polity, and with analysts in-house and guests, we analyze them and invite you to add your voice to the conversation as we try to understand how we can make the project Nigeria achievable in a way that everybody or a larger percentage of the people will have access to the goodies or good things of life. I am Ehis Adon, and on the program Ground Zero today, I have two gentlemen already seated, and together we shall be looking at all of this item. But first, I'll tell you the snippets, then we'll come and introduce our guest. Today on the program, we shall be looking at the crisis between the Kaduna State Agency, that's the Kaduna State Internal Revenue Services, and the Kaduna Electric. Yeah, what's the crisis all about? Their offices within the week we are sealed up. We'll be looking at matters arising. Also on the program today, the Kaduna State is going to make residency cards mandatory from the month of May. That's talking about next month. So we would also be looking at this, the pros and cons, and of course how all of these will affect us, and what it portends for quality of life for every resident of Kaduna State and citizen of Nigeria. My guest on the program today, first, I have a public affairs commentator and a politician, if I may also add, in the person of Samuel Johanna. Samuel, you're welcome too.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Hizan. Good evening, listeners at home.
All right. I also have with me in the studio Yusuf Goodyear. I personally call him a good governance advocate, but he is from the Coalition of Association in Leadership, Peace, Empowerment, and Development, CARPED. Yusuf, you are welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you for having me.
And you, the listener, you are also my guest today, and together we'll do everything together. But of course, you can add your voice to the conversation through our various social media platforms, starting first from the Facebook page of Invicta FM, which is Invicta FM Kaduna. Invicta FM Kaduna. That's the Facebook page of Invicta FM. You go there, the post is up. You can add your voice to our conversation right there. You can also go to the Ground Zero Twitter handle at Ground 0247. You'd also see the post. do well to add your voice to it. You can listen to us, of course, from anywhere in the world via the Invicta FM app. If you don't have it yet, download it from Google Play Store, or you go to the Invicta FM website at invictafmng.com. You can also download the Invicta FM app from the website or listen to us live from there. All right, let's look at details of what we'll be discussing on the program today, starting from the first one. The Kaduna State Internal Revenue Service, KADIOS, has sealed off the headquarters of Kaduna Electric Distribution Company, KADCO, over alleged 464.5 million in tax liability. The headquarters, better known as NEPA building located on Ahmadu Bello Way, was shut down Wednesday alongside the company's Kao area office, NDA bus stop, and Gwandosa Service Center, Kao Service Center, and other offices located at Asikolaye and Tudunwada in Kaduna Metropolis. Kaduna Electric is one of the electricity distribution companies in the country. It is responsible for retail distribution, marketing of electricity in Kaduna, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara State. Speaking with reporters after the exercise, Aisha Mohammed, the board secretary and legal advisor for Kaduna Internal Revenue Services, said the offices were sealed off for not settling outstanding pay-as-you-earn, that's payee, and withholding taxes between 2012 and 2018. Mohammed noted that apart from withholding tax, Kaduna Electric has been deducting payee from staff but not remitting to the Internal Revenue Service as required by the law. That's the first item. And we'll look at details of it, but let's also look at details of the second item that we'll be discussing on the program today. It is now mandatory for people living in Kaduna to have residency card in order to access services offered by the state's ministries, departments, and agencies, NDAs. And this is because Kaduna State government is to make residency card mandatory from the month of May. Okay, Zayad Siga, the Executive Secretary of Kaduna State Residency Registration Agency, disclosed this at a media briefing on Thursday. If you recall, the governor of Kaduna State flagged off the Kaduna State Residency Card Program in June of 2018, stating at the time that the decision was to help the government to plan for its social programs. Speaking on the new directive, Tiga said the mandatory use of the residency card is in line with the state's e-governance drive, as well as the need to eliminate the use of multiple identity cards for different purposes. We've had the details of this, but now let's discuss about these issues, starting from the first one, which is the non-remittance of tax liability to the tune of 464.5 million naira by Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company to the Kaduna State Internal Revenue Services, or to the state government in Kaduna. I'll start with Samuel Yohana. First, the closure of these offices. What does it speak of? First, the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company and the Kaduna State government as represented by the Internal Revenue Services.
Good evening once more, Mr. Heath, and good evening, listeners at home. In the first place, Mr. Heath, it's not good for the corporate image of Kaduna Electric.
Okay.
When you allow this kind of thing to get out of hand, it gets to an extent where your office will be sealed off. And I'm sure there were probably customers there when this place was being sealed off. So what kind of impression do you think the customers will have about the business, the enterprise? It's wrong. It's not only Kaduna Electric that does this. A lot of enterprises deduct pay from their staffs, and they don't remit. A lot. And you see, let me tell you something. If you don't pay tax, or rather, if you don't remit tax to government coffers, how do you expect the government to carry out some of its functions and responsibilities?
That is a big question.
It is from this tax being paid that, in fact, in developed countries, you cannot even do anything without being paying tax.
Well, Samuel, before we come to that, which we will eventually come to,
yes, please.
We just got the impression, and do you think what the Kaduna State Internal Revenue Services did was the right direction?
I'm sure they didn't just do it at once. They would have sent notice, times without number, before getting to this extent.
All right.
They are responsible now, the tax authority, KADARES. So they wouldn't just go ahead and shut the business like that. They would have sent notice, and they felt probably the Kaduna electorate were taking them for granted.
Okay. I'll come to Yusuf Goje now. Corporate entities checking away from one of their responsibilities, a very, very important responsibility, which is paying their taxes and remitting the pay collected from staff to the revenue service agencies in the country. This is something that is becoming very rampant. I recall that in some other states outside Kaduna, some years back, even in the Edo State, some banks were shut down by the then governor, Adams Oshomole, when they refused to also do what is required of them. How rampant is this issue in Nigeria, and what does it speak of the general attitude of Nigerians to businesses and paying their taxes?
Well, what we have seen with Kaduna Electric is just a symptom of a deeper problem that we have as Nigeria, where everybody finds a way to beat the system. Because for me, when I heard the story, well, I feel it's a welcome development, but I think the government should have even taken it further than just locking down the premises. Because if really these monies were deducted from the salaries of their staffs and what have you, and these monies have not been remitted, then I think it is criminal. So there should even be extra penalty for holding on to government monies that should be invested in developing the state. So it's a sorry state that we are as a nation, where you find out that corporations and even government MDAs, because there's no way you avoid paying that tax for almost 6 years, right? 2012 to 2028, without the connivance of those charged with the responsibility of collecting this.
Because it's an annual something.
You understand?
Taking it for 6 years.
Yes. So it means that it is deeper than just what we are seeing now, and it is really a welcome development that should send signs of warning that yes, hence going forward, government will no longer tolerate avoiding the payment of tax or remitting of tax by either individuals or corporations. Because the reality is this: the fiscal space in Kaduna, when you look at revenue accrual, we are in a state that if we don't look at how we can expand the tax net, at the end of the day, within the next 10 years, would actually be another country's commodity as far as the state is concerned. Because if you look at our debt profile presently, it is hitting almost 300 billion naira.
Wow.
Because as of 2019, I think it was about 248 billion naira.
Yeah.
And this is not sustainable. The only sustainable means is for us to find ways, not necessarily to increase tax, but expand our tax base. But again, two things are critical. Do the people trust the government enough to pay tax, that government will utilize these monies to their benefit? So that is a big question that government must first address for people to feel convenient and encouraged to really pay tax. So, but this is really a good sign that anywhere monies are, we should go and get these monies and channel them into more developmental interventions and progress, because the challenges are huge. Population of Kaduna is increasing. I think we're about 10 million now.
Yes,
About that.
yes.
Yeah, and people are still trooping into Kaduna town. There is pressure on infrastructure. There is pressure on social services. So it means that if we don't find ways of legitimately recovering this kind of monies, then at the end of the day, the high population, instead of it being to our benefit, will end up being a disaster to the state. So I think it is a welcome development, but this is just a tip of the iceberg. I believe this thing is deep and wide, and it needs more effort to ensure that these monies are recovered from especially corporate organizations that are resident in the state. In 2019, the state government also did similar. We are not necessarily locking down this thing, but most federal institutions in Kaduna were not remitting.
Okay.
So but in 2019, the state government also pursued that kind of money, and they were able to recover about 9 billion naira.
Wow.
So, but the critical question is, can people hit their chest and say this is where the money is going to, and how justifiable is it? So these are some of the questions that really would make people support the government, if government can effectively show them that this is how this money is being channeled and this is how it is improving their livelihoods.
Very, very, very important for people to know how these monies are being used
Spent.
and how it is impacting on their livelihood.
Livelihood.
Now, looking at this whole scenario between the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company and the Kaduna Internal Revenue Service, it's more like a case of the bushmeats chasing or catching or hunting the hunter, as a popular Nigerian musician sang some years back. Kaduna Electric, yes, we know the general impression that people have about them. You owe them a dime, they come
they
down
come
on
after
you,
you.
cut you out. That's no smiling when it comes to them collecting their monies.
In fact, what they even do now, in the morning, they go out for revenue drive.
Yeah.
They don't do maintenance until in the evening.
Wow.
That is the way they operate now. If you call their technical support stars in the morning, they tell you, we're going for disconnection, revenue drive. We'll only come in the evening and do maintenance. So you can see they've gone crazy with revenue generation. But they also complain severally that the level of energy theft is on the increase.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But some of those energy thefts are not being done like that. It's with the connivance of some bad eggs within their system. Yes. Me and you don't know how to go and bypass a meter.
Yeah.
Yes. So it takes you to agree. So some of their staffs are involved in this thing. Actually, they have a couple of leakages within their system, and it's affecting them. It's affecting them.
Okay.
Yes, but that is not an excuse for them not to pay their tax. Yeah, it's not an excuse.
Okay.
Yes.
Then, still talking about holding people, most especially corporate entities, accountable to paying their taxes.
Their taxes.
And with this new, with what happened between the Kaduna
Internal Revenue Service,
Internal Revenue Service
Kaduna
and the
Electricity
Kaduna
Distribution.
Electricity within this week.
Yes.
Looking forward, moving forward now. Do you think? Don't you think that for those that pay up their tax in time, as at when due or even upfront, that there should be some form of reward? Or
to encourage them to do more.
Yes, encouragement.
Yes.
Because
you can even get a tax rebate. If your record are checked over time that you've not defaulted in paying your tax, you could get a rebate. Because overseas they do it.
That's exactly what I was coming to. Yusuf Goje, don't you think such can be applicable in Nigeria just to encourage people to pay their taxes? Yes, one wouldn't say taxes. One's tax is something that one pays in advance. But a situation where an opportunity like that is created, where one can estimate and pay in advance, Don't you think that should be encouraged so that even business owners should get some form of not tax holidays now, but rebate on their taxes?
Yes. Also, but I want us to also make a distinction between not paying tax and wanting to pay tax, but there's no means to pay it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you can't take away the fact that what is the present level of our economic development?
Yeah.
Does it encourage productivity and profitability among these businesses? Because the essence of business is profit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if these people are not making profit as it is, it also encourages them to bypass the system, cut corners. So while I agree that yes, it is something, and I know it is happening because I know I read one time that committed taxpayers were awarded or something.
Yes,
They had a
yes.
dinner recently and they were encouraged and given awards and they were celebrated and the media covered that. But the major issue is what is the level of inclusive economic growth in the state, if we're talking in Kaduna State in particular, because you cannot also divorce that from people's ability to pay.
Yeah.
You get, we have a situation where businesses are going down
Yeah.
because of urbanization. And these businesses are potential taxpayers
Yeah.
that will contribute to the economy, to the coffers of the government, and lastly to the economy of the state. You get. So, and usually these businesses are brought down without social protection or alternatives for them to start up or run these businesses from scratch again. So as long as we continue to do that, then it means that we might be having a counterproductive result, because we'll continue to put pressure on these businesses and they are not making profits, and at the end of the day these businesses will continue to die. And when businesses die, the implication is that there will be high increase in unemployment, there will be high increase in poverty, there will be high increase in
crime.
criminality and other
Social vices.
social vices that will come out of it. So I think the basic thing that government should focus on now is, can we really create the enabling environment for these businesses to thrive so that they would willingly and happily pay tax? Because they know when they pay this tax, government puts this tax into areas providing social services that will boost their businesses and make them better. So I think that is the major thing government needs to put in place, because whether we like it or not, businesses are dying in Kaduna State, small businesses. And these are businesses that should have been mobilized, organized, and brought into the formal sector.
Yeah.
You understand? Brought into the financial system so that it will be a symbiotic relationship between them and government, because government is creating the enabling environment for them and they are paying government tax. And if you have that kind of environment, even when you decide to say you want to increase, people will willingly, happily want to pay their tax. So when you also look at the area of even payee, that you people's it's removed from people's salaries and what have you, and they go back to pay exorbitant prices for water, for electricity, for school fees, for other things that probably government should have provided naturally. So it means that we are collecting this tax and people are going back to high inflation, high food inflation especially, and other cost of living that is always on the increase. So these things must properly be put into perspective before we get the kind of result. Yes, government is doing its revenue drive, but we need to look at the sustainability of this revenue drive.
Right.
It's not about we are hitting 50 billion naira. It's not only about that, but while we are hitting 50 billion naira, what is happening to the people that are paying these monies? Are they growing too?
Is it reflecting
Yes, is it as a
quality of standard?
is it as a result of, yes, their livelihood is improving, income is improving, that's why government is increasingly getting these revenues from people. And again, we need to also understand that government needs to also make certain clarifications with its revenue drive. And one is this 50 billion. Is the 10% that is supposed to be remitted to local government part of it?
Okay.
because this is not state government money.
Yeah.
Is the revenues that the state government generates on behalf of local governments part of it? So if it is not part of it, then we can say yes, it is more. But if it's part of it, then it means that we need to know exactly how much is the state generating and how much it is generating on behalf of these local governments, so that we know that yes, this progress we are seeing, which is commendable. You understand? From where we were from few years ago, it was 54% performance in terms of IGR, but now we are hitting over 100% performance.
Wow.
But we need a breakdown of these revenues so that we know where to really channel our focus to say yes, government is trying in this area and in this area, because even local governments presently are complaining that what they used to generate before the state government through the tax codification law took over the responsibility is far much more than what is being remitted to them now. So it means their revenue generation is also suffering at the local government level. So these are some of the issues that we need to really dissect when we are looking at this revenue, revenue generation, and not just to celebrate these figures. But it is necessary whether we like it or not. If you look at FAC, over the government released it recently from October till date, it takes almost between 84 to 96% of FAC. That's personnel cost alone. So it means that government has to increasingly rely on IGR.
Yes.
If really we are going to see the kind of development that we want to see on ground.
Yeah, you're listening to Ground Zero on Invicta 98.9 FM. We'll quickly take some messages and we'll be right back, right here on the program. All right, welcome back from that commercial timeout. The program is Ground Zero on Invicta 98.9 FM. I have Samuel Johanna and Yusuf Goje as my studio guests. We'll link up with Eddie Ochidba before the end of the program to also add his voice to the conversation. Right now, we'll be looking at the second item that we are talking about today, the Kaduna State mandatory residency card that will be out, that will become mandatory from 1st of May. And with that residency card, that's what you'll be able to get access to services from government MDAs, Kaduna State Government, ministries, department, and agency. We'll look at what the card represents and how it would also improve the quality of life of the Kaduna residents. I'll start this time around from Yusuf Goje, looking at the Kaduna State residency card and how it would impact on the lives of the citizens and how it would also make the whole process of governance better. What do you think about this and the whole package as it were, since they've said that from the 1st of May, it's barely a couple of days from now, it becomes mandatory? Yusuf.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm always worried when I hear such kind of deadlines, even though it really drives up the enrollment, because Nigerians love last minute processes. So, but generally speaking, you cannot have meaningful development without credible data.
Yeah.
So no government anywhere in the world can really impact the lives of its people without actually knowing the actual number of the people, the locations in which they live. So with this kind of registration, it helps the government to know who is permanently resident in Kaduna State and who are the passers-by. And government can now effectively plan and take decisions based on those data. So it is something that is very, very important and also timely, because if we continue to borrow huge sums of money and we don't have the data that would ensure that these monies are utilized in a way that would impact the people generally, then it means that there is a problem. Usually I know that this kind of registration is usually a requirement sometimes from multilateral organizations like World Bank and IMF. They usually make this as part of their requirements for providing supports and what have you. So, and I know that also a lot of people have read different meaning to it. But I cannot speak to that because I cannot decipher whether there is other ulterior motives to it or not, because I don't have that fact. But based on data, the desirability of data for planning, for decision making as a government, it is very important, it is very timely, and it helps you to ensure that development is result based.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is easier for you to say that at the end of the day, this is the number of people that government services in a particular area have been able to impact. You understand? So these are some of the positive sides, but the only thing is that we must also ensure that there is high level security of that data, so that it is not exposed to other ulterior motives or misutilization or misapplication. That is one thing that government needs to encourage people. Then again is that we must find also innovative ways of making it easier and convenient for people to be able to register.
Okay.
Because if you look at what happened with this NIN deadline, it's just that Nigerians are resilient to COVID-19. But if truly we are not resilient to COVID-19, when you see the way people jam-packed in some of these centers,
it has been a real health disaster.
The health disaster, which we don't have the public health facilities to cater for. So government needs to find creative, innovative ways of making it more easier. Then this deadline will also help out in ensuring that you have high level of enrollment. But presently, the agency is saying that they have enrolled about 3.1 million out of the close to 10 million people in Kaduna State. And I think we are either the first or second highest or so. So it means that progress is being made. But again, we need to really ensure that these things are made very easy for people to actually enroll and be registered.
Okay. Samuel Johanna.
Yes, please.
Let's have your angle to all of this.
Yes, like Yusuf has said, you cannot do much without a credible data. And I think it's a welcome development, and I'm sure the enrollment process has been on for a while. It's just that by our nature, Nigerians, we like leaving things at the last minute. That's when we now start running from left, right, and center, thereby making the process more chaotic, just with what's happening to national identification number. What I don't understand, by the month of May, it will now become mandatory for one to use it to access any public service in Kaduna, or is that what they mean?
That's
if you don't have it, you cannot access any public service.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we've left it too late, and I'm sure the level of people participating in enrollment will be very, very high with this announcement now. And I hope the personnel involved to enroll people are more on ground to support the kind of traffic that will come.
You know, I saw a tweet when I was actually researching on this particular topic, where the executive governor appointed a particular bank that they would be responsible for capturing and gathering the data. And well, let us
a commercial
give them,
bank.
yes, a commercial bank, a second generation bank. Yeah.
Okay.
A second generation.
Yeah, like Yusuf also said, there is need for this data to adequately be in a safe hand as well, to avoid this data as being compromised.
Yeah.
And we all know what it means when people's personal data are compromised, and So let's watch how it goes. But it's a good one. It's a good one. Like in developed climes, they all have this, where people have their social security number.
Yeah.
You can easily be tracked if you go against the law through your social security number.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can get Eddie Ochibo to also add his voice to this conversation before we open up the phone for the listeners to also talk about these issues today. We have Eddie Ochibo on the line. Eddie Ochibo.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Welcome, Eddie.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to, thank you so much for inviting my friend Johanna, who is very, very capable on issues affecting development.
Thank you.
And then Yusuf Goji, budget and financial expert. What drew my attention actually to this program is the issue that has to do with development. What is development? What is governance? How does governance, impact on development and the rest of them? So the issue of one place being locked up and the rest,
the Kaduna Electric
being sealed and the rest of them. Yeah.
Yes.
These are the things that signifies and symbolizes the fact that yes, our entire society is disorganized. It's disorganized because in certain climes, I don't know whether we are developing or underdeveloped. I don't know what to call us as
we are developing
country in Africa, but in the saying developed climes, people are eager to pay taxes because they know that these taxes is the source of their welfare, the source of social security, social protection, and so on and so forth. But here, everybody's in doubt of the next best thing. Is government sincere about this thing? This feeling that government is doing, okay, if they collect the money, are they going to put it into good use?
Yeah.
What are our governors doing with the security vote? These things are very, very shrouded in mystery. Okay. And that's why it creates a lot of problems. So what mine is that once there's a genuine intention, to touch the lives of the people, it should be supported. But don't ride on the back of people that you want to give them succor, and then turn around to embezzle the funds and use it to build estates. This is what is affecting us as a nation. And I'm very, very disturbed about it. It should stop. People should be encouraged, as Goji said.
Yeah.
To pay their taxes. In fact, people should run to go and pay taxes if they see good things on ground. But people cannot be paying taxes. Okay, for instance, you cannot even sleep in your house. You don't even know that the next time they'll come and kidnap and kill you, and so on and so forth. And now they come and say, okay, pay taxes on top all day. So certain times deserve certain extraordinary, measures to take. Let it not be said, let not the people be overwhelmed of problem and then they start dying of heart attack and the rest of them.
All right.
Let's take this thing one after the other.
Okay.
Taxes are necessary and the government are taking the right step, but the government must put the money in the right place. That is to develop, to bring about infrastructure development.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Eddie Ochibo, for adding your voice to our conversation this evening. Now, the numbers to dial is 081400989 and 07087800989. Let's find out who our first caller is this evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. East.
Good evening. You're welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Engineer Emmanuel.
All right, Engineer Emmanuel. Quickly, let's have your take.
I think it's rather unfair. Made in the
your line is breaking up.
Are you hearing me now?
Okay,
I think it's a criminal act. Those that are engaged into that, I think they should be arrested so as to serve as a deterrent. Because I don't see any reason you ask somebody to pay tax, and if he's paying that tax, he needs to see the work. that money which is paying is working for it. But when you collect money and person did not see what you are doing with it, how do you expect another person to pay tax? I'm not against what they are doing, but what I'm against, when you pay and you are not seeing this thing, you are not benefiting from it. So what does it make any sense? So this database that they are talking about, I hope it will not be politicized.
Okay.
If it will not be politicized, everything wants to collect, then at the end of the day, some people will be benefiting, some will not benefit. I'm party to. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Engineer Emmanuel. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Hello, good evening. Hello. Hello, good evening. Okay. Hello, good evening. We lost that. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. You are welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I am Awusko from Nasarawa.
All right, Awusko, let's have your take.
You see, it's good to pay tax, but we need to see things on ground. If Kaduna State government wants people to pay tax, you must widen the cost of production. Market and artisans are having it really rough in this place.
Okay.
So expect the government ameliorate them, give them work, and enable environment, then the taxes should be paid.
Okay.
And the other issue of the registration of cars, we've had so many lives. It's a welcome development, but the government does not have another ulterior motive. We have to we should have a government that will develop the human resources and protect our lives and property. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Awusko. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. You are welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you
Good evening
calling
to
us
all
from?
your guests at the studio there.
Evening.
My name is Comrade Gabriel, Texas man.
All right, let's take it.
In fact, one of your guests that touched my heart when he says that the state government should encourage most of these companies that are down, let them make sure they come up so that they can be able to pay tax. Because I know how much this textile industry we are paying. Okay. We are paying in millions every month. So I think the government should try her best to see that encourage this textile like Kaduna Textile Limited, RE1, Nortex, Fantex, even Peugeot and others like the refinery. Let them open them. So once they open this one, I think there will be no need for him to even lock an office there that is going to collect tax. Money will be flowing in. So I think that is what is going to happen.
All right.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Gabriel. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening, Mr. Idris. How are you?
Good evening. Fine. Thank you.
My name is Musa Bala.
All right, Mr. Bala, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you. Kaduna State is the best state, is number one state in terms of attracting businesses now in Nigeria. The facts are there. No matter the explanation, Kaduna State is taking the lead.
Yeah.
And in terms of provision of infrastructure, if anybody didn't see it now, I'm sure that person will never see it because due to one reason or the other. But development is well spread. Every nook and corner there's development in Kaduna State. So tax is due in Kaduna State.
Yeah.
In fact, majority of people are even asking, when will the developmental levy even come in so that the beautiful work will continue? And on the resident permit card, data is so important when it comes to anything in the state. I want to use this medium to call on the people of Kaduna State to take an advantage of this and get their cards on time so that government will be able to know who are the actual residents of Kaduna State.
All right.
God bless Nigeria with leaders that are sincere, no matter their tribe or religion, and may God distance us from corrupt leaders and their agents that are trying to mislead Nigeria, and some of them are even saying that money collected from these looters should be given to them. When corruption is reduced to the minimal level, That's when Nigerians will be able to breathe. Gone are the days when corrupt people and their agent will be misleading Nigeria with a lot of sentiment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Musa Bala. All right, let's come back to the studio now. Okay, let's just take this one call. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero. Okay, we missed the call. We'll come back to the studio now and take our parting shots as we get set to leave the studio. Let's start from Samuel Yohana. Your parting shots on the program this evening.
Yes, for tax defaulters, my advice to them is that they should pay their tax as at when due, so that when you pay your tax, you see the development of infrastructures and social services. Then for, what's our other topic?
Residency card.
Yeah, like I encourage people to go and get enrolled and see how there will be adequate data for planning and statistics.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'll come to Yusuf Goje. What will be your parting shots?
Well, I think going after tax defaulters is the right step in the right direction, but I also encourage government to ensure that while they are utilizing this tax, it should reflect both in the urban and rural areas, so that development in Kaduna State will really be inclusive, because if you do by percentage what is being spent in this urban renewal compared to what is spent in rural projects, you will see the disparity. So we really encourage government to also invest more in rural economies by providing those social services that would ensure that we remove the 84.9% poor people in Kaduna out of poverty. For the registration, I think it is also timely. Government should ensure that we have more centers, because presently I think we only have 72 or so spread across the state for enrollment. So government should find other innovative ways. Technology is here to also help. So government can do a lot in ensuring that it is more easier and convenient for residents to register. And we hope that when these data are collected, we'll see the development reflect in the living standard of the people of the state.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yusuf Goje. And with that, we'll wrap it all up today on the program Ground Zero. But before I go, I'd like to say this to you, that first, it is part of your civic responsibility to pay your taxes. And it is also very important that you seek to find out what is happening, how your taxes are being used, and how the government generally is taking care and taking charge of things concerning you in the country. So I want to say a very big thank you to Samuel Yohana for having time to be on Ground Zero today.
Thank you, Mr. Is.
And to Yusuf Goje, sincerely appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Today.
Yeah.
All right. I am Ehis Admo, and the station is Invicta 98.9 FM. Ground Zero is a regular feature right here. It comes up every Tuesdays from 5 to 6 in the evening, and on Saturdays from 4 to 5. And always, I'll tell you, the conversation is always on. If you go to the Ground Zero Twitter handle at Ground 0247, at Ground 0247, where the conversation is on before, during, and even after the program. You can always drop your voice. And on Facebook, it's Invicta FM Kaduna. The post is always there regularly, and some other very interesting things that you get to discover when you follow Invicta FM on its various social media platforms. Facebook is Invicta FM Kaduna. Twitter is at Invicta FM 989, and Instagram at Invicta FM 989. And like always I say, before you claim right of way, make sure you're safe and not sorry. Plant a tree today, water it and watch it grow. May the good mighty Lord bless and keep us all.